So, you're thinking about starting some type of side hustle, or maybe you're one of those individuals who already started one. First of all, I tip my hat off to you. Congrats. It's something I think a lot of people need to do these days. As crazy as inflation has gotten, this crazy economy, I don't blame people for starting these side hustles. As a matter of fact, I like to go on YouTube and see all the various ideas, different things people are thinking about to create that additional income for their family to make ends meet. And some of them are absolutely genius, and I could see how they can work. However, what I wanted to make this video about was to show you guys something to think about. You don't have to take the advice on this video or anything, but something to think about, an additional way to advertise your side hustle and do it very, very cheaply and do it in a way you probably never even thought about doing it before. What's up there, guys? Izzy here once again with Get Busy LLC, helping local businesses to understand the internet and get them found online for the services they provide in the local markets. So in this video, I want to talk about side hustles and how I see a growing trend of side hustles and people going out there and starting to build a side hustle or looking into investigating and trying to figure out a way to make an additional income for their family or their situation, as expensive as things have gotten with inflation, this economy, rent, food, gas. Everything's just out of control. Car insurance, car payments, all kinds of things like that. I 100% don't blame people for wanting to go out there and start a side hustle. As a matter of fact, that's how I got my start, except I didn't really want a side hustle. I just wanted a way to create a different income. I was a truck driver for a long time, a delivery driver, and I just felt like I could do something more. So that's why I decided to start doing my website design, SEO, and stuff like that. But this video is targeted more at those people out there who are thinking about doing side hustles or already started one. First of all, the ideas that I see online are freaking crazy and they're freaking genius. I just saw a video just a couple of days ago of a 23-year-old kid who's starting to make $10,000 a month renting out washers and dryers. How crazy is that? I've seen these ideas of people going out there and fixing mailboxes, the side hustle fixing mailboxes. Of course, I've seen a growing trend of people doing dog waste removal, dog scoop business out there in their local markets, in their local cities. I remember talking to a guy who all he did was drill post holes in a certain area. He drove like an hour away as far as that. That's all he did. He did it as a side hustle, just drilling post holes. Who would have thought there was a demand for something like that? I remember a while back even watching a guy who flipped couches. He would buy and sell and flip couches. I think he ended up making six figures a year doing that. It actually blows my mind. And I do watch these videos on how people advertise their business. You know, they advertise stuff like on Facebook and the free marketplace. For example, the guy who's doing the washer and dryer rental service, he was printing out flyers and hanging them in an apartment doorknobs so people could see them. The word of mouth, the typical stuff like that. And they start to get their name out there, and it's great. I've even seen side hustles for like window screen repairs. All they do is repair the screens of a window. Hell, I've even thought about certain things myself, like just doing sprinkler repair. Imagine if I worked for some landscaping company, I've been doing it for years, and I'm an expert in fixing sprinklers. I would just create just a little subcategory of building a side hustle, just fixing sprinklers, all the varieties of sprinklers. Even with my limited knowledge, I know how to fix a sprinkler. I could just imagine people have been doing it for a long time, fixing sprinklers. But the possibilities are actually endless out there. And like I said, I don't blame people for doing it. And if it works out for them, fantastic. And it's crazy because these are little niches and little services that are actually really needed. Another one I've always thought about too was television mounting services. I mean, if you can make a profit doing something like that, going in and installing the mounting for a TV mounts for people. Some people don't want to know it. They don't want to mess up their walls. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't want to break their TV. If you can go in there and provide that service for people, I'm sure you can make that work in a specific town. Do a little side hustle, make a few $100 every month, maybe even $1,000 a month. Who knows? But what I wanted to share with you guys on this video is explain to you guys how some of these niche services and niche side hustles are so unique and so clever that if you were to go out there and build a very, very basic website for that niche and that service that you provide, it is almost remarkably easy to get that website to start to rank on Google when by some far off chance somebody would type in that service, your website would show up, place you right there front and center for that exact service that you provided in your local market. And since these niches are so small and nobody's really out there building out these websites for these types of services, if you to go out there and build out these websites, you could get these websites to rank on Google and get them to rank relatively quickly. Some of them you can get them to rank in just maybe a couple of months. So as you're building out your business, let's say you decided to start like a sprinkler repair service in Santa Barbara, California. Santa Barbara, California is about 100,000 people. And you build a specific website, a specific page that all it says is, we repair sprinklers in Santa Barbara, California. Getting that website to rank on Google would not be difficult at all. So if you did start that side hustle for a sprinkler repair in Santa Barbara, let's say that's what you're doing. You're doing it in the afternoons or something like that. You decided to build that website. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to build a website. Very, very basic. Very, very basic formula. So let's say you did learn those skills to build out a very basic website for a Santa Barbara sprinkler repair. You build out that website, just leave it online for a while, and eventually it climbs to the first page of Google and some people start to find it. So you're out there doing your side hustle, sprinkler repairs, you know people, your word of mouth, you start telling people about it, you hand out business cards, you're doing the flyers and things like that. Just their side hustle, right? Now all of a sudden, you get people that have no idea that you even existed before. They found your website online and says, hey, sprinkler repair in Santa Barbara. Let me call this guy up. They hit you up and they call you. Now all of a sudden, you got another customer that you didn't go out there and actively search for. They actually went out there and found you. And now that you're starting to get clients with your word of mouth and the business cards, and all of a sudden you're starting to get some calls with with your website that you built online, then you can go out there and get a Google business profile verified with Google. And you already have your business rolling, got some momentum going. Now you have double whammy. Now your website is showing up on the first page of Google, and that Google business profile that just got verified by Google. Now you're getting found for that particular service in that particular town. And this would work the same too for somebody who's doing something like a washer and dryer rental service. Somebody's out there digging post holes in that certain town. Somebody who's buying and selling couches. Something like that would be unbelievably easy to get ranked on Google and get found for. You could even do the same thing for the TV mounting service, window screen repair service. All of those very narrow and specific niches are so obscure and so small that ranking a website on Google in those particular towns will be a complete cakewalk. Piece of cake. And all you have to do is have a simple understanding of how Google's search engine actually works and what it would take to get that website to rank on Google. So I'm going to show you exactly the 5 things you need to place on that website in order to make it rank on Google. And it's not very difficult to do. So let me show you the anatomy of a perfect SEO optimized, called search engine optimized page that'll climb extremely well on Google. Let me show you real quick. So I'm going to share with you guys a very, very simple example of how this Google search engine works and how it files pages on that first page. So let's say, take the example of junk removal, Evansville, Indiana. So let's say I lived in Evansville, Indiana. I needed to get rid of my junk and I'm looking for junk removal services. More than likely, the probability of me typing this exact search term is going to be extremely high. Junk removal, Evansville, Indiana. So the moment you type that into Google and hit that search bar, in essence, what Google does is creates a drawer in a filing cabinet, right? That drawer says junk removal, Evansville, Indiana, or just Evansville. You pull out that drawer and it files pages according to this search term that I just placed in there. So what Google does is it gives you a local map pack listing right here, 3 here, and then it usually gives you 10 search results here at the top. And how Google dictates what it places in to these searches is done a lot by how that website is built out. And since you guys are doing some kind of side hustle, a very specific niche, that little drawer, you put that specific search term, for example, sprinkler repair, Santa Barbara. When you open that drawer, there's only going to be just a little bit of pages in that filing cabinet in that drawer, because a lot of people have not built a page for that specific search term. So all you have to do is build out a page that fits perfectly in that filing cabinet. So when people type that into Google, your page will show up. They'll see that page and they'll give you a call. But there's 5 things that you need to do to add to that website and that specific page in order to make sure it ranks well on Google, especially for very, very niche types of searches. So every single website page that's online that's ranking on Google has to follow these 5 rules. So here's the web page, right? That specific page on that website needs to have a proper title on the page. Again, think about the filing cabinet. If you look at every file in that filing cabinet, each tab tells you what's inside that folder. Then there has to be a description of what's going to be on that page. Then there has to be a headline on that page. So when somebody pulls out that page, what's this page going to be about? And you have to create these little sub headlines on that page to reinforce what this page is all about. And then all of the content on that page, everything written on that page has to be about this title, this description that you have on this page. When I explain this to people, I try to explain it like an insect. When God made all of its insects on planet Earth, it's the same things apply for every insect, no matter what. There's variations, there's colors, different shapes, different additions, different things to an insect. By and large, an insect has the head, thorax, abdomen, the 6 legs, the antennas across the board. Pretty much every bug has that. Every insect has that. Whether it's an ant, or it's a bee, whether it's a grasshopper, a ladybug, or one of those disgusting potato bugs, the same outline, the same formula applies to every single insect. So every single website page on the internet should have these 5 things in order to rank well on Google. So going back to this example, junk removal Evansville, Google creates that filing cabinet drawer. I pull it open. Now I'm going to show you guys a website I built for this guy. It's been a while, but I followed those 5 rules for his homepage of his website. Well, his business is ranking here number 1 in the map listing because he had a Google business profile. You can always get this later. They're 100% free, but you're going to see on his website, I followed those 5 rules, the 5 things that needs to be placed on that website. You're going to see the actual service plus the location. That's the specific niche that we're trying to rank for. So again, if I were to do this for somebody's sprinkler repair in Santa Barbara, that's what I would title that website. So you can see the title of the website. This is what's on the tab of the website: Professional Junk Removal, Evansville, Indiana. And you can see the description too. It says junk removal services in Evansville, Indiana. So now so that's the title tag and the description. Now when you go to visit the website, right? So if you run your mouse across the top, this is that tab. See how it reinforces? It's telling you it's a professional junk removal in Evansville, Indiana, right? We already know that. And here is the title of the website. Remember, I told you. So if I pull that page out of the filing cabinet, what's it say? Junk removal, Evansville, Indiana. Now, as I scroll through the website, I'm going to look for the sub headlines that reinforce this right here. So this is a sub headline. Looking for top rated junk removal in Evansville. Here's another one. Here's a sub headlines here for the services that he provides. Right here. Other additional ones. Here's another sub headline. So somebody just kind of just browses through the website. Like say you pulled it out of the filing cabinet. And you're like, okay, junk removal Evansville, and it keeps telling me that it does. Okay, I get it. It's a junk removal service in Evansville, Indiana. And then as I read the content, it has 100% everything to do with junk removal services in Evansville, Indiana. Thus, why his business is showing up right here, and his business is showing up right here. And I'm 100% certain he's getting leads on a consistent basis for his junk removal services in Evansville, Indiana. Now, do you see how that would work for your specific side hustle that you're thinking about starting, or maybe you already started? How beneficial it could actually be for your business if you were to build some kind of website like that. Like I said, TV mounting, Paso Robles, California, right here where I live. Washer and dryer rentals in Dinuba, California. It's a smaller town out in the Central Valley of California. Building out those websites and getting them to rank on Google is extremely easy because when you open up that drawer for that specific search, there's like no pages in that filing cabinet as compared to something like roofing contractor in Las Vegas, Nevada. You open up that filing cabinet, it's probably a mile long of pages for that specific search term. This is why you, as that side hustle business owner, have it made. Building out a website for something like mailbox repair in a certain town, it'd be so easy to rank on Google if you understand those 5 things that you need to add to a website. This is the reason I've created my templates and my designs. I have links in the description so you can check them out. And it kind of just walks you through how your website should be structured, how it should be designed, how it follows those 5 rules of getting that specific page built out correctly. Will give you a huge chance of getting that website ranking on Google and getting those additional customers for that side hustle that you got going on. Not only that, you could build one of these things out really, really cheaply. If you decided to use something like Wix, you could build that website out in about a weekend once you learn and understand how to structure the website correctly. And it'll only cost you, I think the cheap ones for Wix, maybe $17 a month. If you're a little more advanced and have a little bit of experience with WordPress, things like that, you can go to Hostinger, pay for 1 year of hosting. I think it's around $50 for the whole year, and they give you a free domain name. I mean, what's there? You got nothing to lose right there. I'm sure it's a lot cheaper than all those flyers I got printed out that's hanging on doorknobs. Learn these basic rules of ranking a website on Google, build out your website, that page, tack on an about page and a contact page, and you should be good to go. Gets the ball rolling, gets you more exposure online for that side hustle that you got going. So if you guys want to learn how to build your own website, do this thing for yourself, check out my templates. Just go to the description below. I have links for all that. I show people how to build a website step by step. They could probably do it once they learn the skills. They could probably do it over a weekend and get that thing knocked out. I have my templates, so you can just transfer the whole damn file over and you just fix and cut it and edit it, whatever service that you're providing or that side hustle that you got going on, that very niche side hustle you got going on. So all that stuff you could learn completely on your own. I did it myself. Like I always tell people, I was just a dumb truck driver and I was able to design my own websites, learn SEO stuff and all these skills. It was a side hustle of my own that I eventually turned it into a full-time income. So again, if you guys want to learn all that stuff, just go to the description below. I made it as affordable as possible for anybody who wants to kind of do this and start building additional leads and additional business for the side hustle that they got going on. And if you guys want to see how I would structure a website, say for this crazy, what is it, dog waste removal, poop scooping, I created a template right here. You guys could check out how I would structure a website for that would rank extremely quickly and easily on Google. You can check out that video right here. And that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time.